Hi guys, if you're new here, my name is Sam and I make videos about makeup, chronic illness, and whatever I want. And today I want to focus on overconsumption, overspending, and just Black Friday in general. They're kind of going to be combined because I know a lot of people are going to be making Black Friday sale videos, so I wanted to do something a little different that was a little more personal to me. My low buy and no buy year has been very eye-opening to me. I've been doing this for 2 years now, and I feel like I have learned a lot and changed a lot about my shopping habits, yet there's still a lot I want to change. Writing down the money you spend, how often you spend, how much you're spending can bring up a lot of emotions, from shame, guilt, embarrassment, anger with yourself, disappointment, depression, regret. I could go on and on. But I think it is very eye-opening in the sense that you truly get an idea of what you're doing, and you can kind of ask yourself, why did I do this? This year is the most conscious I have been with my spending, especially in regards to beauty since I entered the beauty space. Now, like I said, I still have a lot of improvement I would like to make, but like anything else, like building muscle or learning a new skill, it does take practice and you can't do something overnight. So I am still happy with the progress I have made, but progress is recurring. You need to regularly work on it, like learning a language. It's nothing that you're just one and done with. It takes regular action. Shopping is a real disease and a real problem. The national credit card debt is over $1 trillion, and the average person has over $7,000 in personal credit card debt alone. I think this is a lot more common of a problem than anyone wants to realize, just because, like any other kind of addiction, there isn't a black and white look to it. There are levels of severity, and it can sometimes be hard to recognize, especially in ourselves, the more mild forms. There are so many different types of shopping. You have bargain shopping, you have compulsive shopping, you have impulse buying, you have buy and return. You can have little bits and pieces of all of these things. For myself, I had bargain hunting, and then I had impulse hunting, and then I had a little bit of collecting, I should say. None of this is black and white. You can have little bits of things, and it can also vary by severity and level. There's also this growing toxic mindset of treat yourself, and if you have a bad mental health day, buying things to make yourself feel better, you deserve it. And I'm not talking about if you had a really stressful day at work, ordering takeout. I'm talking about the people who think the world is so miserable that just waking up in the morning they have to spend $10 on a cup of coffee rather than making themselves coffee, and it's like my little treats to get me through the day. This is very troubling behavior, and you see it as an excuse that other substance users use. I need this to get going. I need this to be motivated. I need this to stay awake. Like, it's very similar. If you are someone who finds themselves needing to shop or unable to stop your shopping or stick to a budget, I just have to highly suggest looking into therapy. If you are using shopping as a way to deal with unpleasant feelings, whether it's anxiety or depression or stress, I highly suggest finding a therapist. It can be a lot of trial and error to find a therapist who really clicks with you, but I promise it's worth it. I've done all sorts of types of therapy for all sorts of problems: complex PTSD, depression, anxiety, my autism, all sorts of things. And I have grown, and I'd like to credit my therapy to why I've been able to handle my problems with shopping. Therapy is truly one of the best things I've ever done for myself and for all of my loved ones. Now, while I don't have any debt and I don't have any financial problems relating to shopping, and I have dealt with my impulses and desire to shop for the most part, I still need to be very conscious of the things that I'm doing, and I realized I haven't been super conscious. My behaviors don't just impact me, it impacts everyone around me with being an influence. Whether it's my close friends or family, you influence the people around you. with your behaviors, whether it's exercising more regularly, that makes the people around you want to exercise. There's so much psychology behind this that you influence the people around you. And on top of that, I create content, so I influence everyone who's watching this video. It doesn't matter how micro of an influencer I am. If I'm influencing one person, that's still something I need to be conscious about and think about my impact and my responsibility as a content creator for being responsible. And you could use the argument, I've heard the argument many times, that people have free will and they can do whatever you want, but we still need to take personal responsibility for the behaviors we condone. And if it isn't a healthy behavior, shopping too much is not a healthy behavior, I can't do it just because I can afford it just fine doesn't make it healthy. You know, people can afford really expensive, it doesn't make good for you. So just because I am fine financially doesn't mean that I am promoting good and healthy behavior for anyone around me. So we really need to evaluate shopping compulsions in more than just a financial setting, because it's so much more than just financial. A way that is more than just financial is a few years ago I realized I just had too much stuff. It was making cleaning hard. I felt like I didn't have enough space. I have a perfectly sized home. I don't need more space, but I felt like I did because I didn't have enough space for all of the stuff. And we've been conditioned that you just upgrade. You get a storage unit, which, sidebar, have you noticed they build storage units anywhere? It means we have a problem and people have too much stuff. It isn't that we don't have too much space. The houses have never been larger. I felt overwhelmed, and to be frank, I felt guilty that I had all of this crap. Why do I have all of this crap? Why did I buy all of this? This is on me. It's a direct reflection of me and my habits. I grew up in a family, an extended family on both sides, that all have, to be frank, a slight hoarding problem. They were raised by people who survived the Great Depression. You held on to everything. They were both large families who had lots of kids, so they just held on and cherished stuff because for them stuff was scarce. And this is a generational trauma that has been passed down to many of us millennials because our parents and grandparents lived through that. And it really needs to come down to cycle breaking in us as individuals. And that's when I realized I can't do this. I can't live like this. It's making my life difficult. It's giving me anxiety. It's stressing me out. I need to make a change. This is what sparked my first no buy. I started decluttering, and of course with decluttering comes with a lot of guilt as to I spent money on this, I shouldn't get rid of it. And I think sitting with that uncomfortable feeling really helped me narrow down and realize that why did you buy it in the first place? You really need to think about your purchases from this point forward. If you don't want to feel guilty for getting rid of something in the future, make the decision up front on if it's something you permanently want. I think it's safe to say we all like stuff. I'm not demonizing having or wanting things. What I'm here to focus on is how and why we buy things and how to do it in a responsible way. I will always love makeup, but I had to shift to a point where I love using makeup more than I like purchasing makeup. And when you're building your collection and trying to find brands that you enjoy, it is easy to get caught up in trying and testing, but you really need to focus on whether it's yarn, workout equipment, makeup, paint, hair products, what have you. Once you find something you like, stop trying new stuff all the time, because now you're just wasting money. That money could be saved to go towards replacement of the things that you know you already like. Now, while I have shopped a few Black Friday sales already, like early sales, they were things I was already planning to buy, and I only purchased things because we have a potential tariff situation coming up, and I am going on an indefinite no-buy in all areas of my life. That is a future video, but I can admit that I still probably bought more than I needed. Not even probably, I definitely did. As I look at the future, I can see the improvements I've made, but I still have bars to reach things I want to do in the future, to the point where I just don't shop on Black Friday anymore anyway. Unless it is, you know, the Sephora sale where I restock on stuff twice a year. Like skincare item I'm out of, hair care item I'm out of. Those are the things I'd like to get to, where I don't feel like I need to buy anything during like holiday sales because I'm just content with all areas of life. So that is something I'm practicing and very mindful of that I did this year that I would like to not do next year. I want to touch on the fact of like hobbies here, and hobby can include anything. This isn't just beauty related. We're just going to speak generally because I think all hobby areas have fallen into this overconsumption problem. I want everyone, including myself, and I've been working on this, to actually use the stuff we have and enjoy it. Use it up, make it dent, make it look gross. I mean, like my foundation is a great example here. This is disgusting because I use it all the time and it kind of leaks. But we have all of these pristine items that aren't touched. I'm including myself in this. And that's not really a way to look at it. You know, we had grandparents who had fine china for fancy occasions. What if a fancy occasion never comes? And why is right now not a good enough reason to use a special thing? And I think that's the mindset we have to have. Tomorrow is never promised, so we should use the nice stuff now. The nice lipstick, the nice perfume, the nice china, the fancy yarn, the really nice workout set, whatever it may be. We need to be using our stuff and enjoying it. And if we don't enjoy it, we need to declutter and get rid of it and really have a conversation with ourselves in the process as to why did I buy this in the first place and what I'm going to do to avoid making a similar mistake in the future. Buying stuff isn't a hobby. It isn't. Buying things for a hobby you rarely partake in is incredibly toxic. I know individuals who buy makeup they literally do not and cannot wear because of their job. I know people who use shopping as a hobby. They have clothes with the tags still on, clothes that don't even fit. They aren't even bothered to go exchange it for a proper size. They just let it rot. It's a very easy to see an example like that where it's an extreme situation of somebody is just buying stuff to feel something and moving on when the high has worn off, and look at yourself and say, well, I don't have that problem. But I think it's very important to notice how most of us have small versions of that habit, very mild, minute versions of that habit, and we need to take responsibility when it comes to our own consumption, even if it is not an extreme version of it. Just because we aren't the worst doesn't mean it isn't unhealthy or damaging. If we can't have self-control and we can't say no to ourselves, then we have to really look deep down inside and figure out what the problem is. Why can't I say no? Why can't I practice self-restraint? Like, what is the problem here that I need to address? Because it isn't the stuff. There's something else going on. These are the type of self-reflective conversations I hope to spark for you to have alone with a significant other, with your friends, just kind of pondering. Because I feel like as a society, the shopping situation has gotten dangerous and out of control. It's unsustainable and it's damaging to people's personal lives and the economy. The only way to fix that is if we fix our own behaviors and feel comfortable having these conversations, because nobody else is going to do it. Now let's chat about these Black Friday sales, which is probably why you're here a little bit. To start, I want to say you probably don't need anything. I did not need anything, but I shopped anyway. It's unrealistic to assume you're not going to shop. I did. It is something that I am hoping to avoid next year, like I said. But let's talk about my tips if you're going to shop. How you can shop a little more mindfully. My first tip is if you wouldn't buy it at full price, don't buy it at all. This includes gifts. If the product isn't worth full price for you, that should tell you that you don't want it and you definitely don't need it. Because if you wouldn't pay the extra 20% or whatever the discount is, you don't really want it. You just want it because it's on sale. And same with a gift. If you wouldn't have just bought the gift for somebody at full price, what makes it a good gift now? My second tip, the discount should be a minimum of 20%. A minimum of 20%. Consider that tax in a few states is over 10%. A 20% discount isn't a lot. It takes you right back down to 10%, and that's not much. Even if your sales tax isn't that high, 20% isn't a huge discount. On $10, it's $2. So It's not amazing. If it's under 20% and you take into account sales tax, it's just a joke of a sale and you shouldn't be shopping it at all. Don't even look at it. Walk away. If it's something you need, like a shampoo or your socks fell apart or something like that, any discount is a discount. And that was actually some of what I shopped, was stuff that I would have bought full price, but I knew it was going to go on sale. So I just waited for the sale because I didn't need it immediately. Like a refill on my shampoo, some nail tools, things like that. Not saying I needed it, but I was going to buy it at full price, so I decided to just wait for the sale. Number 3, take your time considering your purchase. Impulse purchases are a problem for all of us. I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. Everyone you know is guilty of it. So take time to walk away and think about an item. Think about how you would use it, how often you would use it, what it would add or remove from your life. You know, would something make cleaning easier, things like that. Really consider if it's worth spending your money on. Yes, even if it's as small as a $5 item, because a lot of $5 purchases add up. And number 3 takes you back to number 1. Would you pay full price for it? Number 4, research your items. Not everything is created equal, even if it's by a brand that you trust. Good brands can make flops. Reviews and content creators can be biased, of course, but plenty, including myself, pride themselves in being honest and giving honest reviews on if a product is good or not. Before you commit to something, look around and see what people are saying about it, because it might not end up being what it's advertised as and might offer no value to you, which would just result in you wasting your money and being upset later. My 5th tip, consider just saying no. Simple as that. Consider telling yourself no. Consider exercising self-restraint. And it's hard. Trust me, I know that it's hard, but it really can benefit you in the long run, like working any other muscle. The more you practice it, the better you'll get. I'm way better than I was 2 years ago, and I know that I can get even stronger with time and practicing it even more. I want to end this briefly touching on content consumption. I think we all got sucked into overconsumption with the rise of influencers and content creating, and how marketing stopped focusing on traditional marketing and focused heavily on marketing through influencers and on social media platforms. It's very easy to reach us through social media, and none of us are immune to it. They hire actual psychologists in marketing to learn how to worm their way into our brains and make it work on all of us. So this is not a shame or I'm better than you. I'm just as susceptible and have been as everybody watching this. I think it's important that we do focus on the people we follow and the content that we consume. Unfollow pages that make you feel like shopping, even if it's mine. Don't follow brands. Find pages where people focus on using the things they have, creating things, you know, DIY projects, even people that focus on mindful consumption. I also think just spending less time scrolling mindlessly in general is very beneficial. It definitely helped me a lot because there are a lot of times I have no idea what the new products are. I have no idea what's happening. I just focus on myself. When you get on social media with a purpose, I'm not saying stop using social media. I'm saying stop mindlessly scrolling. Get on, check on your friends, check on your favorite person, musician, whoever that is, and then get off. Or get on, post what you need to post, reply to your comments, and then get off. Do not do the scrolly scroll where you're just seeing anything and everything. You'll be less tempted to buy random things if you're not just scrolling away. And quite often, a lot of this stuff is undisclosed sponsorships and undisclosed ads, which I could get into a whole nother video about. Well, thank you so much for watching this. I know it's kind of like a heavier video and also kind of vulnerable, but I think it's a very important conversation to have. If you have any tips, suggestions, anything you want to talk about regarding this topic, please leave a comment down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time with a Christmas background. This is the last video before I switch to Christmas.